So, my friend, I want to ask you, have you been listening to some of my podcasts for a while and identified for yourself all the areas that you feel your business could be better in? Maybe you just are so busy you haven't yet mastered the working as much as you like bit. Or maybe you're just not bringing in the money, like you're struggling with the income, or it's just not enough. Well, it's time for us to have a conversation. In the show notes, there is a link to my evolution call. If you're a dance boss and you are ready to take action, let's have a chat and let's see where I can take you. Hello and welcome, lovelies, to the Ultimate Dance Business Podcast. My name is Deborah Laws, the dance business expert. My passion is to help you turn your passion into profit while guiding you to work less and earn more. I'm super excited to share interviews with you that I know will inspire and motivate you in your schools, as well as my solo shows where I shall be sharing some great tips and strategies. So if you love the show, please do remember to review, subscribe, and share it with your fellow dance boss friends. So let's get stuck into the business of dance. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. I am so thrilled to have the lovely Demi with me today, who is a dance school principal here in the UK. And I'm really interested to see where this conversation goes today, because there's going to be lots of you out there that are listening that relate very much to some of the things that Demi and I are going to talk about today. So Demi, welcome. And thanks for coming on the podcast.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Now, I picked you. I put a post out on social media and I asked people to put themselves forward if they wanted to be on the interview. And I had so many people that were keen to be interviewed, but I picked you because you're at a very specific stage in your journey. And with this little mini series of principal interviews that I'm doing, I wanted to have a little bit of variety. So tell everybody a little bit about how long you've had your school and kind of what stage of journey you're at.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been running my studio now for around 18 months. We run lots of different classes there. We go into primary schools too. And yeah, so I'd say we're still relatively new. There's lots of schools around us that have been going a lot longer. And so yeah, we're still relatively new out there, but it's going well and we're slowly growing.
Yeah, good. So yes, I mean, in terms of, some of my clients that have had their school 25, 30, 40 years, we would say that your school is fairly new. But what type of school do you have? What do you teach?
So we teach lots of different things. Literally, so we do acro, theatre classes, and we do street dance, ballet. We have such a wide variety of classes at the studio. But I'd say we are more of a fun studio. We don't really do many competitions or anything like that, but we do 2 shows a year. So the children also have something to strive towards. But it's fun. There's not pressure of every single weekend, all right, we're getting ready for a com. There's not the cost of classes, of competitions every single weekend. It gets expensive. And within that, our classes are super cheap as well. So everything that I run is at an affordable cost. So all of us holiday clubs, affordable. All of our dance classes are affordable because being a mum, I know how expensive it gets having children. So my ultimate goal over the years has been to create something that everybody can afford.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing the type of school that you've got. And I think we've got a good picture now of what you've kind of created so far. So one of the things that I would love to kind of ask you is, have you got any dreams or goals of what you would love your school to look like in the future? Let's say maybe, I don't know, maybe in another 5 years' time. What does your dream school look like, Demi?
Absolutely. So bigger, definitely bigger. So the studio that I've got at the moment is on the smaller side because we've got to start somewhere. So I'd definitely love it to be bigger, and I'd love for all of the classes to be completely full, but still be at the same price. I don't want us to get bigger and more well known and the price just go up and up and up and up. That's not what I'm about. I still want it to be affordable. I just want there to be a lot more children, and I want there to be a lot more children that know about us in the area. Because I do think sometimes the pressure of the cost of dance does put people off. So yeah, I want to be able to help as many people as I can and just grow in numbers. That's just what's important to me, having more children enjoying dance. So
Yes, that's lovely. And so have you got any idea of what kind of size school you're aiming for ultimately?
I've never actually thought about it like that. So I'd say at the minute we've got around 70 children with us that attend classes. And I've never actually thought, to be honest, how big I'd like it to get. I don't know.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. I'd say I'm a very open person when it comes to goals. Like I always want to strive to be bigger, but I've never really got a set goal of I want there to be 100 children, because I know ultimately when I get to 100 children, we're like, oh, I want it to be bigger, I want it to be more. So I just always think if I just go with the aim of growing and getting bigger, then I'm going in the right direction.
Absolutely, yeah. And in fact, this is an interesting area that I'd love to kind of go into in a bit more detail, because I think a lot of people running dance schools don't necessarily have sort of an end vision of what they're trying to achieve. They just keep working hard and keep feeling motivated. But I suppose one of the things that I teach as a dance business coach is actually life becomes a little bit more purposeful and has a little bit more structure when we have goals along the way. It doesn't necessarily have to be a really big end goal, but just something that we're working towards achieving, a bit like we do for our students. You mentioned that, you haven't mentioned exams, so I'm guessing you don't do exams, but, some children having that end goal of an exam at the end of the year is what keeps them going, or having that performance to look forward to is what keeps them going. Like, I always think that we have to have something that is the kind of the thing we're trying to achieve, which helps us to then create another milestone and another milestone. And it might be, I want to be able to do the splits on one leg in the next year, or both legs in the next year, or I want to be able to, master a double pirouette now that I've kind of managed to get a good technique for my single pirouette. So, goals and milestones are all there to help us stay motivated, to keep our mindset kind of alive and positive, and to kind of drive us forward. So I often encourage some of my members and some of my clients to set themselves goals, and it might be a goal for this term, it might be a yearly goal. But what's really important is, a goal or a vision is something that we just creatively think up. It's like a dream. It's literally like a little bubble that can appear above your head. So you could say to me right now, we've got 70 kids, and in the next year, I'd love that to get to 100 kids. It's quite easy doing that part, isn't it? The bit that's difficult is the right now, how do we actually make that happen? And so this is where the word strategy comes in place, which is a very business kind of word that we don't really think of much when we're running a dance school. Probably because a lot of principals don't see themselves as business owners, but that's another story. That's another whole kettle of fish we won't go today. But the word strategy is really just, another way to put that might feel a bit easier for some people is, you've got this goal. How are we going to get there? What does that look like? And I don't know if I've mentioned this on any of my previous podcasts, but having a strategy is a little bit like saying, if you were to get in your car and you wanted to, say, drive to London, you would probably nowadays use a sat nav, and you'd get the postcode of where you're going and you'd plug it into the sat nav and you'd drive down the road and you'd follow the instructions. And if you keep listening to the little voice or keep watching the sat nav, you're going to end up in London in X amount of time. Well, you would never get in your car and start driving willy-nilly anywhere your car took you and hope one day you might arrive in London. And that's what it's like running a business when you don't have a postcode and a sat nav. It's like we just get up every day and we do the stuff and we do our to-do list. And if we have time, we do a bit of marketing. If we're really lucky, we do a bit of marketing. And then you're a mum. I think you said you've got a 5-year-old and a 4-month-old.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. So a lot of your time and energy is put towards the children and family life. So if you have this goal of another 30 students in this next year, but there's no plan, these are the steps. This is the turn right at the end of the road. This is the turn left. The chances are you're just driving around, hoping that you'll get to 100 students. So let's dissect that a little bit for you. Are you happy with that goal? I feel like I set that goal.
No, absolutely. I feel like that's very realistic in the terms of how we've grown. So I look at my growth from show to show. We always do our little picture of all of our little dance school at the show. And our first show, so that was a year ago, we had 25 children. And then now we're going into the next show with 70 children. So our next show is in winter. It's on the 15th of December. So I feel like that's a very good, realistic goal as well to grow.
Okay. So we want another 30 students in the next, in the next few months. So the first thing I would say is students don't just appear out of nowhere. What happens is you somehow become visible. Now, you might be visible because they saw something on social media that one of your parents shared, maybe a picture of their child getting ready for the show. Mm-hmm. So they've either seen you maybe on social media or in the playground, someone's talked about you, so word of mouth starts to kick in when you get kind of past 50. It might be that you've done a little bit of marketing. Maybe you've had some posters up somewhere, or you've been and had the kids perform at a local school fete. Like, we have this first layer, which is called the visibility layer, and it's where people see and find out about you. What happens next is a constant exchange. They are then either going to go, oh, that's nice, not for me, not interested, or they're going to look at your whatever the visibility thing is, however they've seen you or heard about you, and kind of go, oh, that might be of interest to me. I need to find out a bit more. And that's when they might search on Google for dance classes in their area. Or if they know of the name of your school, they might look up your website, or they might look for you on social media. Would you believe that the first place people now look when they look for a school is Facebook and not even Google?
Yeah.
So it might be, So it might be that they have decided to look into you a little bit more. You're not aware that that's happening at that point. You're just you've done a little bit of marketing and you're hoping people are going to kind of inquire. So the next thing, when they have checked out your socials, they've checked out your website, they've spoken to a few parents, they're basically sounding you out at this stage. Does this school look like this type of thing I'm looking for my child? And what I love about you, Demi, is you've got a very clear, this is what we are and this is what we're not. Like, I'm not trying to be this thing over here. I'm not trying to be this thing over here. I'm trying to be this. This is me. This is what I want to achieve. And one of the pitfalls that a lot of people fall into is this, I'm trying to be everything to everyone so I can just get as many students as possible. When we can get really clear on what we are, what happens is we repel the people that want the things that we don't offer, mm-hmm. which is great. And then we attract the people that love what it is that you're offering and what you're doing. So when they have looked on your Facebook or your Instagram page, or they've gone to your website, for example, they are looking for, what is it about this that I love, that feels aligned with me and my values? Can I see my child fitting into that photo? Can I see my child fitting into what that class description says it's all about? And if they're feeling really aligned with this, that's when the magic starts, because that's when they raise their hand and they say, I'm interested. Can you give me information? How do I book? Then we take them on a beautiful journey, teaching and educating them all about the school, whilst asking questions about their child and what it is they're looking for, giving them the information that they require to be able to make a decision to take that next step, getting them booked in for a trial, giving them the best experience they could possibly wish for when they come to you for a trial. And then hopefully we sign them up and they become part of the dance family. So the important thing to look at is, what am I doing with all those different steps to make sure I've got a beautiful flow of constant inquiries? So that really is my question for you in terms of being visible in your local area and then taking them through some kind of a lovely journey where they are desperate for their child to love their trial session because they're already with their Visa card out, ready to buy the uniform, hoping that they come out with a smile on their face. Where do you feel that's going well for you or maybe not going well for you?
Yeah, so because we go into the primary schools, obviously we are at an advantage, and we work in the primary schools near to where my studio is. So the children see us in the schools, especially if we're doing lunchtime clubs. Obviously, we're seeing all of the children. We're there in the playground with big boom boxes. We always have the uniform on, so they all know who we are. Half of the time, they don't even call us our name. They're just the dance lady's here, the dance lady. So yeah, the children always see us, and then we send letters out in the primary schools as well, with all of the information for our before and after school clubs. But where they book those is the same place where they can book for the studio. So we have them both in the same place. So all of that traffic, when they come to look for classes, maybe the school class isn't for them, the day doesn't work, but as soon as they get onto our website, they see everything. So I feel like that's a really good marketing point for us.
Yeah.
And social media. Social media is a big place for us, especially TikTok. It's great. Like, I know younger children shouldn't necessarily have it, and it's more the parents that see us and they're showing the children. And yeah, we do get a lot of traffic from TikTok. So that is another good place. But I do feel like we do have a downfall in other areas, such as, like you mentioned, posters, and there is definitely a lot more that we can do, but that all falls on me. I have two girls that work for us, so in their admin time they could be doing more of that. It's just me that needs to put that into motion.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's all a learning curve, isn't it? You're still in, those early stages. And it's really lovely, actually, to hear that you've got someone doing some admin for you already, because I really feel that there's only so much you can do, especially if you've got a young family, in terms of growing and building and scaling the dance school before there's no more of you left. Like, all the hours I've got, I can't do any more. And it might be that just seeing to your current students in terms of the customer service element and the general admin, and then going out and teaching, like, that's it. That's you maxed out right there. There's no more additional time to do anything else. So if, for example, if you came and joined my membership, there's a whole vault, 5 vaults with over 80 hours of trainings and loads of stuff that you could learn and implement. But all of that is irrelevant if you don't have the time to put to doing that. And, one of the biggest problems I have in terms of retention in my business is people come in, they sign up for 3 months, they say all this training, they kind of go, when am I going to do this? I don't have the time, and they leave again. And they still have the same problem when they leave as when they started. They don't know how to market, they don't know how to grow their school, they don't know how to do all the things. They haven't solved anything. All they've done is spend a bit of money with me, not got anything from it, and realize that they don't have the time.
It's difficult. I do feel like running something like this, a lot of people underestimate how much you do as a studio owner. Like, I find a lot of the time people say to me, like, oh, you work like for yourself, you can do whatever you want whenever you want. And yeah, during the day I might be able to take an hour to meet you for a coffee, and that's great, but then that doesn't make up for me being sat at 10 o'clock at night scheduling social media posts and getting registers together and sending things out to staff, and like, you don't see that. So I completely get the whole the time management, it's a difficult thing. And I get what you're saying, like coming to you and you having so many resources, but then having the time to put those in action in my own business, it is difficult. And I think when you do find that time, you know, it's like, I know if I put my head to it and I say, right, this week I need to do this, and this, I will see an influx at the studio, and I will see people coming through the door and think, wow, that was great. But then that's it, because I had the energy to do it for a week, but then I struggle again. So yeah, I appreciate that. It is difficult, yeah.
So I thought I would just share with you guys today the planners that I have produced for dance school owners, because these are flying out of Amazon like hotcakes. And if you don't have yours yet, then all you have to do is pop to Amazon and type into the search Deborah Laws, and all 3 books will come up. So the Ultimate Dance Business Planner I designed for you so that you had a little bit of a Deborah on your desktop. The planners are full of business training, tips, motivational quotes, things to do at the start of the month, things to do at the end of the month, ways in which you can plan out your marketing and your retention, and they are selling all over the world. So go to Amazon, grab your #1 best-selling Ultimate Dance Business Planner, and enjoy mapping out the growth for your studio. It is. And I appreciate that that's hard for people. It's like a chicken and egg situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Deborah, help me. You can help me out of the situation that I'm currently stuck in with my dance school, but I'm so busy being stuck in my school that I don't have the time to implement the things that you can teach me. And we just go round and round in the circle. And unfortunately, like, I can't do it. That's one of the only parts that I can't help with. Like, until somebody can find a way of finding that time, we can't start making the changes. And some of them are really huge. Like, some of them are really massive results very quickly. But it has to start with somebody being able to put at least some time aside. But what I love from what you said earlier is that you've got someone already, after less than 2 years, doing some of your admin. Because what this means is you've already recognized that you can't do it all by yourself. If somebody was to take some of that admin off your hands, which they're doing for you, that enables you then to show up and spend the time with your children that you need to. Or it would enable somebody else potentially to go, do you know what? There's an extra 2 hours now for me to be able to now work on something. And what we're exchanging here is, I won't do these fairly simple, straightforward tasks that anybody could do. I call them £10 tasks. And £10 tasks stands for something, and minimum wage isn't £10 anymore, I know, but let's go back to when it was £10. Like, I pay somebody, so long as I show them how to do it and I train them correctly and they do it to a high enough level, I could pay anyone a minimum wage to do that task. It doesn't need to be in my business doing this. If we can get rid of a few of those £10 tasks, what that means is we're exchanging that money that we're spending on that person to buy us back some time. And the time that it buys you back enables you to work on what I call £1,000 tasks. And the £1,000 tasks are the things that are actually going to bring in more students, generate more income, help retain your students, build a team, like all the stuff that are the more high-level business owner tasks. Mm-hmm. And it's really lovely to hear that you're doing this already, because some schools, you know, I have many lovely principals that have run their school for 20, 25 years and they still do everything.
Yeah, I feel like my issue was I had the time for them to start taking on the admin, which was great. Because we go into the primary schools, that's a lot of daytime stuff. And then on an evening, we've got a whole lot of evening stuff. And in the middle, we was a bit like, we didn't really have very much going on. So obviously they took on a little bit of the admin, but I'm very much a control freak. And I don't like to give things away. I like me to do it. I know it's being done properly.
And I really think that is the same for almost everyone. And in fact, I did a training for my members, which they get in their vault, which is called Delegating for Control Freaks.
Yeah.
Everyone is the same. We all feel like nobody can do it like we can do it. If we want to make sure that nothing gets broken or ruined or spoiled, we're better doing it ourselves. And also sometimes, I think I could do it quicker than trying to explain it to someone else. And all the problem, there's only one problem there. And it's that no one's ever taught you how to properly create a process so that you delegate it. And so people kind of have a go and then realize that, oh, that doesn't work. It's because I tried to get someone else to do it. It's not because you tried to get someone else to do it. It's because you didn't give them the right tools. You didn't equip them with the right knowledge and information so they could do that task properly. And that's a whole learning in itself, how to do that. But it is really the only way that you get to grow and scale your business, because as I said before, it's very difficult when you're trying to do it all yourself. There's only so much of you to go around. So you'll get to a certain stage and then you'll pretty much stay stagnant. But you're doing that already. You've got your own studios. You've got 70 students, pretty good on social media by the sounds of things. What would be really amazing is if you could find some ways. So I'm talking about ways of getting new students in for these goals. If you could find some ways where you can get more visible in your local community. So do your kids ever go and perform at Fates or Christmas lights switch on? Like, do you get them out so people can see them?
Yeah, so it's really difficult because we work in the schools. The times when like our Christmas things are going on or summer fairs are going on, it's always when our after school clubs are running. So it's really difficult for the coaches to be there with the children. And it's not even like, say, for example, this school class runs on a Thursday and their school fair's on a Thursday, so we can take the kids through to perform. It'll be like their school class will be on a Tuesday, the fair will be on Friday, and we'll be in a different school on Friday. So it's really hard to make the timings work with what we do. And especially taking the studio children there, it's really difficult. Like a lot of our schools near us do things during the week and not necessarily on a weekend, which makes things difficult. We do have like local fairs and things, which again we could make it work. It's finding the time to put these things together.
Yeah, it's making it work. It's kind of doing your research and finding out what's going on in your local community, like what's going on over the next year, what could work, what are all the things that won't work. I don't have teachers available at those times, or are the kids available, but where are the opportunities could go, and we could have a stand and potentially have some kids there. But also, you don't even, having the students with you is great. That's the biggest thing that's going to help you. But you can also run a really great promotional stand or a stall, whatever you want to call it, without having your students there. There's creating opportunities where you can create little mini classes. They come back at 12 o'clock and in front of the stand, we're going to have 5-minute dance class you can come and join in with. Definitely try and find those opportunities for things that you could get involved with the calendar. And another thing that I think is really important is that we're really aware of what our own students would love to do. So in terms of, you mentioned you've got about 70 students. Do you have any idea what percentage of those only do one class and what percentage do more classes?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. And we've literally just moved over onto a new booking system as well. We do have quite a lot of children that do more than one class though.
Yeah, great. So what we want to identify is where are all those children that only do one class? And what can we do to invite them and encourage them to taking more classes? So we call it, in business terms, we call it upselling, which sounds a bit, I don't like that term straight away because the word selling in there makes us feel icky and like, we're now going to go down the road of becoming a sleazy saleswoman or man. So I like to use the word inviting our students to connect more with dance. And I always feel like there's a massive lost opportunity for most dance school principals that don't have this as part of their marketing strategy. Because you will 100% have someone in your school that if you actually reached out and told them about another class and why you felt it would be really beneficial for them and how it's going to help them in their current class, and gave them the time and the day and the additional cost, I guarantee that there are students that would take more classes.
Yeah, I feel like we have quite a lot that do duplicate classes because we have a price reduction. So any second, third, fourth class they add on, they get it at a reduced cost. So I feel like because of that, we do have a lot of children that are like, boom, we'll do another class. Or we try and put 2 classes back to back that are for the same age category, so they can just stay and, you know, do a longer class in one go. I feel like a lot of parents like that as well because they can nip out and get the shopping done or whatever. So I do feel like in terms of over the amount of children that we've got, I'd probably say there's more children that do more than one class than that just do one.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, obviously, like I said, there's always ways to get more people to do another class. So again, that is definitely something that we should look at.
Yeah. So straight away, you've got a couple of strategies there. Getting out into the local community, using the students that you've got to encourage them to do more classes. And also potentially, I haven't looked at your website, but our websites are really crucial in the role that they play, that take people from I might be interested to I'm coming along for a trial. A lot of people's websites, and I'm not suggesting yours is, as I said, I haven't seen it, but a lot of people's websites aren't designed to actually take people on a little miniature journey so that they land on your website, 3 clicks, take them to the exact information that they want for their child. And it's super easy. And they're signed up and they're booked for a trial before they even knew it. Like they went on there to have a little look and now they've booked because you've done like literally a little dance with them.
Yeah.
Most people's websites are just, well, here's the information and you can find the timetable on this page and you have to contact us for prizes because we don't put our prizes on our website. And it's really difficult to find anything. And people aren't taken on a structured, it's almost like you need to have an architectural journey that they go through. And so website conversion could be a lot higher when websites are designed the correct way. So, for example, and you only need to give me a kind of a yes or a no here, really. If I had a 7-year-old that wanted to start dancing and I landed on your homepage, is there a button on your homepage with a photo and a clear label that says classes for 6 to 9-year-olds?
No.
Because that's the age group my 7-year-old will fall in. And instantly I know, for me, that's the button I need to press so that I can carry on this journey on this website to find the information that's relevant to me. So where would they find information on the classes that you run for a 7-year-old?
So we have a page on with our class timetable on, and then we have a book now page. So they can literally just go and book straight away. They can book a free trial through our website for any of our classes, or they can sign straight up through our website straight away.
Brilliant. So the sign up process is nice and easy.
Yeah.
But before I got them to that stage, I need to know all the classes that are for a 7-year-old. I don't want to know anything for a 6-year-old or a 4-year-old. I don't want to know about 8, 9, 10-year-olds. I just want to know what class my child could fit into.
Yeah.
So on your timetable page, how do I find that relevant information that's just suitable for my child?
They're in a way. There's literally, like I said, there's just the timetable. So they'd have to just look through and find which one was for them.
Look through all the timetable to try and find. And when you name your names on your timetable, what are your classes called?
Or it's listed very easily. We don't do like the whole tops, juniors. We literally list it with the age. So it'll say like ballet and then the year category underneath it. So if you were to look at our timetable, it does say year groups quite easily. And it's just one page.
Right. Okay. So they can find it if they search through and they work it all. And how do I find out what this class is all about and what's going to happen in that class and what they're going to learn and how it's going to benefit them?
So on our book now page, if you go to the class, it explains like everything on there basically as they go through to book.
Great. So it sounds like you've got quite a few things going really well on the website.
Mm-hmm.
There could be some areas which become a little stumbling block for parents.
Yeah.
Parents, like, attention span on the internet, on websites, is ridiculously low.
Yeah.
The average bounce rate off a website is 5 to 6 seconds. So if they can't go click, click, click within seconds, they'll probably go and be searching somewhere else already. So the stumbling block for you potentially is around the trying to find the classes that are relevant for their child.
Yeah.
Imagine if on your homepage you had 4 images or 5 or 3, it depends on how you could split your school into age groups.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially like 3 to 6, 7 to 9, 11 to 18,
Mm-hmm.
say, and then adults. So when someone lands, immediately there's pictures, 4 pictures, 4 buttons underneath with the age group, and they click on that button. And then when they go onto that page, it's only the classes for that age group.
Yeah.
With the day, the time, the venue, the cost, and a description.
Mm-hmm.
And then for each one, there's then a book here for each one of the classes.
Yeah.
A little bit like if you click on an Argos website and you put in lampshades, it will bring up thousands of lampshades. When you click on that lampshade, it then gives you the description, what it's made for, the size.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah. So it's just making it a little bit more customer friendly, because we have no idea how many people come onto your website, perhaps do a really good job getting traffic to your website, and then they get there and they go, oh, I'm not really sure.
It's a bit too difficult. Yeah. No, I really like the idea of that, because I feel like with our new system that we've gone over to, we've had to integrate that into our website. So at the minute on our Book Now page, it's just a long list of classes. Like, you just got to scroll through yours. But the website that we use, you can actually put a link to a picture. So I do really like the idea of that. I'll be going away and changing that at midnight tonight when I finish teaching and doing whatever else. That'll be going on the website.
Yeah, and booking a few local events throughout the next year, and looking at your students that only do one class that you could have a chat and a conversation with. So there's just a few little marketing tips there to help you get that extra 30 students. So this is what I talk about. This is what I mean by the strategy.
Yeah.
So you've got this goal of another 30 students. We talk about you needing a postcode to plug into your sat nav. So at the moment, and we could do a lot more work on this, at the moment, the sat nav looks like local events, improved website, upselling to current students. Like, all of this is going to help you get to those extra 30 classes filled, because filling spaces in our classes doesn't always have to be new students. It can be more, our students doing more. So already you've got 3 key postcodes, if you like, to plug into your sat nav to go away with. And I think sometimes we just need someone to kind of go, tell me what you're doing. Share what's working, share what's not working. Let me give you some postcodes that you can go away and work on. And that's what kind of a business coach is all about, helping you to identify that. So one of the things I'd love to share for the people that are listening is a new thing that I've started doing, which is called the Dance School Success Plan. And it literally is this, basically creating your sat-nav postcodes for you. So we go through a little exercise. In fact, it's something you do before you come on a call with me, where there's a short video, there's a little 1-page worksheet that you print off, and I get you to go through all the different aspects of running a dance school and color code them like traffic lights. So basically, you color something in green if it's going really well and you don't feel like that's an area in your school that really needs much attention. You color in amber if you think, I'm not really doing that terribly well, or we could do it better. And then it's red if you're like, this isn't happening. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about, Deborah, with this thing. And then you jump on a call with me and we look at all those reds, and I help you to formulate a little bit of a plan, then how I can help you with that potentially, or you can go away and try and work it out yourself. So for anyone that's listening that feels like this would be amazing, like, I love that Demi got 2 or 3 things, for her to work towards to help with the strategy of growing her school. This success plan meeting is something that is available to everyone. So do please check out the link that is available if you come and find me on Facebook or on my website, dancebusinesslab.com. Very quick little plug there, but it was just off the back of the fact that we've been talking about having a bit more of a plan to grow the school. But it's been a really lovely chat with you, Demi, and one that I know a lot of schools that are in the infancy, in the first few years, people will relate to, and particularly with some of the, the challenges and the things that you've got going on. Before we finish, if I was to give you one last piece of advice with one thing that you feel is one of your biggest challenges, what would that be for you?
I think it comes back to the whole thing, which you said you can't change for me, is time management. That it is so difficult to figure out how you fit everything in. But then I think that comes back to maybe me just sitting down and getting all these different processes in place and delegating more to my staff. Ultimately, in my head, I know what I need to do. I need help on letting go, if anything. And I feel like when you do something on your own for so long, you just get used to doing it on your own. But then children come along and whatever else.
Yeah. And, I have a very famous saying that I say all the time that a lot of people that hang out with me a lot are probably sick of me saying, but you have to let go to grow.
Yeah.
And it's really, am I going to stay where I am because I'm not prepared to let go? Or do I have to learn how to let go? Again, is something that, I have to do a lot of work with my clients. And going back very quickly before we wrap up to the time management aspect of what you were saying, I think sometimes the little spaces are there. We just don't manage our time as well as we potentially could. So what I would say to you is, sit down at the beginning of a week and literally have some kind of physical paper diary and block out the times when you think, right, that's when I take my baby to nursery or take them to a toddler group. That's when I'm teaching. That's when I'm doing X. And then where are the gaps? Where are the little spaces where maybe not every week, but some weeks you're like, okay, on a Friday morning between 9 and 11, I could probably put something in. If I blocked it out and I made it part of my week, I could probably do that there. And then make that non-negotiable. Imagine it's like a class that you've put in.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't not turn up to teach a class because you've decided to go to Waitrose instead. Like you would unconditionally, that time is for that class. Do the same with the little bit of time that you're going to block out for learning and your growth or for your marketing. You can block times out and make them really intentional. And even if it's half an hour a week, it's half an hour where you think, right, I'm going to work on this strategy or I'm going to work on that strategy.
Yeah. And it's half an hour more than what I would have had if I didn't work it out.
Exactly, yeah. Demi, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your school with us. Mm-hmm. And thank you for making this work around baby. I don't know if he's gone back to sleep. He's been very good.
He's playing. He's happy now. He cried for a little bit, but he's a good baby.
Yeah, he's lovely. And really appreciate you having this chat with us today. And I hope maybe you've even got a few things to take away that will be of help to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So, my friend, I want to ask you, have you been listening to some of my podcasts for a while and identified for yourself all the areas that you feel your business could be better in? Maybe you just are so busy you haven't yet mastered the working as much as you like bit. Or maybe you're just not bringing in the money, like you're struggling with the income, or it's just not enough. Well, it's time for us to have a conversation. In the show notes, there is a link to my Evolution call. If you're a dance boss and you are ready to take action, let's have a chat and let's see where I can take you.